Hello, welcome, Progressive Hoodie. We're going to be talking about the Las Vegas debate. What I'm going to do in this video is just simply rank the candidates from 7th to 1st on how well I think that they performed last night. I have another video where I already broke down what I thought their strategies might be, what I think we could look forward to, and what I think I would do if I was those candidates, if I were one of those candidates. So now let's just get into the ranking for the debate. So before we get into it, I just want to say that last night's debate was just crazy. I like these debates are usually not very enjoyable, but this one was one that was it kept it interesting because the candidates were going after each other like never before, man. That's what you want to see in a debate, not just sitting back and going, well, I think that I have good plans, and there's some other people. Y'all all have good plans too. Y'all all great. Y'all are beautiful. Y'all, oh my gosh, y'all are so wonderful. But maybe there might be some changes. It's just like, ill. It's so weak. And then plus the fact we're talking about trying to select someone that's going to go up against Donald Trump. Really, you want like really? That's what we're going to put up against Donald Trump? Like, grow a spine, Democrats. Stand up, grow a spine, throw some punches, get in the ring, and let's go. And so last night they really came for it. And then plus, let's be real, them questions that MSNBC, NBC slash whatever were asking, let's be clear. I mean, they were definitely purposefully asking difficult questions and pointed questions at these candidates, going after their record and things like that. So let's go. Let's start with 7th place. 7th place, there's no question about it. It's Mike Bloomberg. I mean, there should be absolutely no surprise there. If you disagree, you're wrong. I mean, there's just, there's no, it's not about whether I like him or not. Okay, I happen to think he was the worst person on the stage. Policy wise, I disagree with him more than anybody else. I would think that he would be the worst person that we could possibly run in the Democratic Party, but that doesn't matter. Uh, there are going to be people who I rank high in this that I don't necessarily like or agree with on a lot of things in this ranking system. It's not about whether I like them. This is about their objective performance. And I don't think any objective person could look at the debate performance that Bloomberg had last night and say, yep, pretty much nailed it. Like, what were you watching? He was wooden. He was stumbling over his words, almost like Biden does, not as badly, but like the same kind of like stumbling, bumbling, barely keeping his footing together. He was on his back foot. He was playing defense literally the entire night, and he wasn't even able to effectively turn defense into offense. Even when he tried to go after other candidates, oh look, well Bernie Sanders, you have 3 houses. How did that happen? Like the audience was like, crickets, like what? Like, I mean, you would think that with an audience at these debates, the DNC invites a lot of the people to these things. I wasn't in the impression that, oh, no, these things are always just 100% people off the street. No, I mean, like, the DNC will invite people to these debates. So, I mean, there are oftentimes a lot of party insiders and things like that. You would think that him being like, communist, at Bernie Sanders would work. But he was like, the audience was like, ugh. They were like, ew, that just left a bad taste in their mouths. Like, nothing he did resonated. And so I think the fact that he was on his back foot all night, nothing he did really resonated. He had no real good answers for anything. I mean, from everything from, we were talking about stop and frisk. He tried to go with that lame, oh yeah, I apologized already kind of thing. He went with more of that. That is not going to cut it, dude. You're trying to win over the black people in this country. I mean, I don't know, what is it, 22% black support that he has, which is way too high and already ridiculous. I'm going to need black people to wake up and do their research. But the 22% black support or whatever it is nationwide that he currently holds, like, that's all advertising, dude. None of that is you having to stand up there and give an account for what you've done. That's all based on just ads. You bought his way to 22%. And so part of the reason that I'm right, once again, yay, I'm right. I'm a very smart person. Part of the reason I was right again, I think, or at least right on this issue, is that Yeah, we needed to be in the debate. As much as I agree with those people who say, you shouldn't be changing the rules. Yes, they're right. You're not wrong about that. But I'm glad he was in the debate because we got to see him absolutely get reamed. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Kyle Kalinske in his video, he was like, I almost had to look away. And I was thinking to myself, man, you must be a better person than me because I did not have to look away. I enjoyed every minute of it. All right, now on to sixth place. So in sixth place, I have Amy Klobuchar. I know there's a lot of people that think Amy Klobuchar does well after every debate, no matter what. I don't know what people are smoking, but no. Now again, I gave her third place in the last debate, so there's no like, it's not like, oh, well, you just hate Amy Klobuchar. No, no, because I thought she did fairly well last time around. She was in my top three. Not last night. There were a few times where she was mixing up with Pete Buttigieg where I felt like he kind of got the better of her. She looked really defensive. She looked really on her back foot. She looked really like offended. And I don't get me wrong, personally, I'm here for it. The extent to which she hates Pete Buttigieg, I'm definitely here for it. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like with a certain subset of people, it can come across as just being like, you think you're better than he is because you're a senator and he was a mayor. Like, I mean, it's just that simple. Like, she thinks she's better than him is what it looks like to me sometimes. And that part of it is a little bit gross. I don't like Pete Buttigieg at all. But when you start to come across as kind of arrogant and thinking that you're just better because, yes, I mean, it has this kind of, I'm from Washington. One second. And I mean, like, that's not attractive at all to the average American person. Plus the fact when they were talking about her not knowing, being able to name the president of Mexico, she just really did not look good there. And she starts going into, how many members are in the Israeli Knesset? 120. And how many, she starts like randomly naming other facts. We don't care that you know these other things. Like, like that looked so desperate to me. Like, I was like, wow, this is really cringeworthy. Like, if I had to pick one word to describe her campaign, it's cringeworthy. It's absolutely, she is cringe. Klobuchar is cringe. Let's get that trending, people. The Klobuchar cringe. I mean, but she is like, she tells the same jokes over and over again. They got compilations of her like telling the same thing over and over again, over and over again. I'd like to see how his hair would hold up in a blizzard. I got it. Like, it's just like, ew, Amy. Like, this is so like pathetic. So it's just, she was on her cringe game last night, and it was, if there was anything that I wanted to look away from, it was the Amy Klobuchar moment with the Mexican president and her up there being like, oh, well, I know other things, mommy. Like, that was not attractive. It did not come across as strong. It did not come across as being knowledgeable. And like I said, she came across as thinking she was better than Pete Buttigieg. And that part of it for me was just like, I don't think this is going to resonate with people personally. And then you also got to look at how does she do relative to what she needs to do, right? She needs the support of people of color. She ain't getting it. She needs the support of Latinos. Do you see anything in her debate last night that's going to make people that are Latinos think that she should be the candidate? This woman doesn't even know the president of Mexico. Most Latinos in our country are Mexican. She doesn't even know the president of the country that a lot of these people came from or have ancestry back to. I mean, like, it's just... And it wasn't just that, because remember, even Elizabeth Warren tried to stand up for her and go, guys, this is kind of unfair for us to be like nitpicking somebody not knowing a name. Everybody has those brain freeze moments where we can't remember a person's name. That doesn't mean that we should be attacking that person over that. And we need to be fair here. If she doesn't know policy related things, then that's different. But not knowing a name, that's one thing. The moderator was like, okay, I understood Warren. However, she also didn't know about his policies either. And then Warren was like, oh, okay, well, fair enough. Like, Warren couldn't even help. Warren was like, the moderator was like, no, I'm sorry, Warren, nice try, but she actually didn't know policies. And then Warren was like, I'm going to head out. Good luck to you, Amy Klobuchar. Plus the fact there were also some attacks that Elizabeth Warren lobbed on Amy Klobuchar. I mean, she made Amy Klobuchar look real common when she came with that sort of like, yeah, look at her actual plan. She wants to sit up here and knock my plan, knock Bernie's plan, knock all these other plans. But I mean, she has a Post-it note for a plan, like a sticky note that's like, oh, here's my healthcare plan. Like, really? It's not a plan. So it's hilarious that they go after Bernie out for how much his plan costs, go after Elizabeth Warren for the details of her plan. But then they don't even really have a substantive plan. It's just hilarious to me. So I do not think that Klobuchar did well. I know some people think she did pretty well last night. No, I don't think Amy Klobuchar did well at all. I thought she looked real desperate. All right, so now let's go on to fourth place. Now this is where it started to get really tricky for me. In fourth place, I have Joe Biden. Now, I thought Joe Biden started off pretty decently, and actually I think he had some good moments in this debate. He was very strong. I thoroughly enjoyed, again, him being a part of routing, of Bloomberg. But I still feel like there were really long stretches of the debate, too long stretches of the debate, where he was really not a part of the discussion in any real meaningful way, and I felt like he kind of slipped back to the background. And when he was talking, he still struggles with the same thing where he is incoherent, difficult to understand. These are the things that I think when we saw his first couple of debate performances and we saw that it wasn't really affecting his numbers in any really seriously detrimental way, I think a lot of us were under the impression that, oh, okay, he's clear. He can continue to have these awful debate performances, and it's not going to matter because nobody really cares about it. But I think at the end of the day, little by little by little by little, the fact that he is not able to really hold his own up there, the fact that he looks sort of out of it, that what they saying, like the fact that he just comes across as completely senile at times, and just like he's just losing his marbles. That may not have had an effect one time, but when we have seen it over and over and over and over and over, and I mean, we got to go all the way to 9 because we've seen it in every debate. I think that begins to erode at your support. And then when on top of that you're doing badly in these first 2 states, that's part of why I think his campaign really is effectively over. Because, I mean, what we saw in Iowa, 4th, what we saw in New Hampshire, 5th, then we started to see, okay, now we started to go down in the polls in Nevada. He should be leading Nevada. I mean, yes, Bernie Sanders, granted, does do well with Latinos, but Joe Biden was leading in Nevada, and he should still be. But he's not anymore because of a plethora of different things. But again, I think his early performances hurt him, and now we see him in these debates also still not able to hack it. I just don't understand how Biden did himself any favors here. Okay, in third place, I have Pete Buttigieg. This was very difficult for me to give him the bronze here because obviously I cannot stand Pete Buttigieg. And I'm not even saying he necessarily did great. I just thought he was third best. I think if you're the type of person who falls for the standard neoliberal crap, if you're the type of person that falls for the waxing eloquently and, oh, that sounded real good, didn't it? Didn't that sound good? That sounded kind of presidential, right? Yeah, that sounded good. Yeah. He said something about the shape of our democracy. Yeah, that sounded good, right? Is it an octagon, a hexagon? Oh, well, it doesn't matter. It sounded smart. If you're one of those people, then I think Buttigieg did great last night. I mean, I think for what he does, for what he offers and brings to the table, no real substance, just criticizing everyone else, criticizing Washington experience, being like, yeah, just because you're from Washington, you're not that great because you're from Washington. I'm an outsider, everyone. See, look at me being all not from Washington while I continue to fight for the same standard neoliberal garbage that everybody in Washington already fights for. Hilarious, right? While I continue to be corporatist, while I continue to fight against those values of people like Bernie Sanders who would actually make a difference in people's lives, while I continue to fight against that, while I continue to act like Bernie Sanders is some raging extremist when you look globally, there's nothing extreme about a policy like Medicare for all. Nothing. every industrialized country has one version or another of a single payer healthcare where care is free at the point of service. Everybody has that except here. And people who just wants to act like Bernie Sanders is some raging radical for that. If you fall for that and that works for you, I think Pete Buttigieg did well. I hope I'm wrong. There are a lot of people out there who thought Pete Buttigieg was awful last night. I mean, did I personally find him to be unbearable? Yes, I have right here in my notes. Pete Buttigieg is unbearable tonight more than usual. This was like literally 15 minutes into the debate, probably. Maybe 10 minutes into the debate. I was like, I already want to choke him. He was going after Bernie Sanders repeatedly. He did not go after Mike Bloomberg very much. But I mean, it doesn't matter because everyone else did the work for him on going after Mike Bloomberg. In some ways, it was kind of a smart strategy. He decided to turn his attention to Bernie Sanders while everybody else went after Bloomberg. He didn't need to go after Bloomberg. Everybody else was already doing it. I mean, Bloomberg was pretty much eliminated from the debate 30 minutes in. I mean, I thought Ryan Seacrest was going to come out and be like, so the votes are in and Bloomberg, you're gone. Bye. You can go now. Like, it's time for the top 5. Like, I really half expected that because it was so embarrassing. So I think Pete Buttigieg was like, I don't need to do that. I need to go after Bernie Sanders. And I think I even said in my pre-debate predictions that based on what I was seeing on his Twitter feed, we were going to see him doing more going after Bernie Sanders than Bloomberg, and that's what we saw. And even when he was going after Bloomberg, he was kind of doing this juxtaposition and putting Bloomberg and Sanders adjacent next to each other and say, this one's extreme, this one's extreme. I'm the reasonable, moderate person here. Again, that doesn't work with me, and I think it's ridiculous. I felt desperate to me how much he was going after Bernie Sanders. But if you are the type of person that buys into that, if you're the type of person that likes to see that, likes to see the grandiose acting holier than thou speeches to everyone else on the stage about, well, we've got to be serious here. When they were talking about the deadlines for like doing something about climate change. They're talking 2040, 2035. No, it's not 2035. It's actually 2020, 20, whatever. And then people just goes, no, it's actually 2020. Like, I can't stand that kind of garbage. Like, it's just so intolerable. Like, dude, you're not better than everybody else because you're saying that it's urgent for us to do something about climate change. Everybody up there knows that we need to do something about climate change. And it's not even like your plan is the most robust. I mean, we're talking about Bernie Sanders supporting the Green New Deal. Do you support it? Do you want to do something like that? Or are you going to sit here and just criticize Bernie Sanders, who's actually coming with plans, while you sit up there and wax eloquently and talk a whole bunch of garbage and say things that sound intelligent because you're using some halfway big words that have more than 5 letters in them? I mean, are you going to actually say something substantive? You're going to just sit up there and criticize everybody else the whole time. I can't stand this smug person. And I cannot wait for him to be decimated in South Carolina. It's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen here in Nevada. I really hope he does poorly here also. But I don't think black people are buying into this jive turkey routine. Anyway, so I think he was third. I don't think it's great. I think some people will think it's wonderful. I think the neoliberal establishment will be like, oh my gosh, it was wonderful, but that's that. So in second place, I have Bernie Sanders. When I first watched the debate, I was actually not happy with Bernie Sanders' performance in the first half of the debate or so. I thought he picked it up in the second half. I was like, okay, this is good. I'm liking the answers here. I'm liking how he's on the attack. I like how he's going after Pete Buttigieg. I like how he's standing up for Medicare for all and calling it the only real rational way to do medicine is to actually have it be about care and not about profits. I absolutely love that. That was great. But when I was watching it the first half, I was like, this is kind of weak sauce. And there are some moments that I wanted him to do something a little bit differently. Now, when I watched it back the second time, it didn't come across anywhere near as weak to me as I thought it did when I first watched it. But having said that, we got to start reframing the Medicare for all debate. We got to start, because I'm really honestly tired of having the same discussion every debate. I'm really over it. Like, we know where Bernie Sanders stands. We know where Elizabeth Warren stands. She thinks that in some magical universe, she's going to pass one bill giving us to a public option, and then 2 years later, she's going to magically turn around and pass another Medicare for all bill. That's hilarious. We know where all these other people pass. We know where, Joe Biden stands. He wants to expand on the Affordable Care Act. I mean, we know where these other people stand and what their positions are. So I'm kind of tired of having this discussion around how much is it going to cost. And we need to start talking about the cost to human lives. And I really wish Bernie Sanders would just straight up be like, how many people are going to die under your plan, Joe Biden? How many people are going to die under your plan, Pete Buttigieg, because they don't have care? How many people are going to die under your plan, Amy Klobuchar, as you struggle to run interference? Oh, we must keep our precious private insurance, as you protect private insurance and their ability to deny, because that's how they make profits, to deny covering people's medical care and their procedures that they need done. As they deny that, as they deny paying for people's care, as they cap out people's care, how many people are going to deny or die under your plans as a result of that? That's where this conversation needs to turn. I'm tired of having the discussion about cost when we are willing to spend endless loads of money to bomb people that look like you and me overseas, or many of us that are watching this overseas. Because I know there's some white brothers and sisters out there. Shout out to the white brothers and sisters. Love y'all. Y'all are the best. Well, you're all the best, but you know what I mean. Love y'all. Now, I mean, how we gonna, really? So I'm tired of having the discussion, and I wish he would really pivot to that and say, look, insurance is not the answer. Private insurance is not the answer, because they can still be denying people care. And so he needs to go after that and stop making it always on the defense about money. I'm tired of that. You need to attack and say, people are going to die under your plan. People are going to die under your plan because of not having access to actual medical care. Just because you have insurance doesn't even mean you really truly have access. And so having real meaningful healthcare that is free at the point of delivery, where you don't have to worry about being turned away for inability to pay, is what we need to have in this country. Your plan is inhumane because people are going to die because they do not have access to care, period. To sit here and act like, well, my plan is better because I'm taking a half measure and that's automatically better than being quote unquote extreme. No, it isn't. You have to look at the substance of it and what's going to actually take place as a result of it. When we look at your plan, it is obvious that people are going to die as a result of that. We need a humane system that puts the lives of the American people above the profits of the health insurance company, above the profits of the pharmaceutical company, above the profits of the oil industry. This is where we need to go. It's about human lives. People's water is being poisoned. People are going to school with no heat. We are talking about the lives of the American people. We're talking about children in our country right now. And you're going to sit here and deficit hawk this conversation to death? If you want to do that, there's a party for you that you can run, and it's called the Republican Party. I don't have anything wrong with Republicans, but you're clearly one of them. You want to sit here and talk about how I am not a real Democrat? I mean, seriously? We got people on here deficit scolding me about how we're going to try and pay to keep citizens of this country alive instead of bombing and killing brown people overseas. Buttigieg always wants to juxtapose two things. We want inclusion, not division. Wasn't that so clever that we had to? Well, let me tell you what we want. We want more hospitals and less bombs. We want more healthcare and less bombing people overseas. More saving lives and less taking lives. I'm for saving lives. And so that's where the discussion needs to go. I am sick and tired of having this stupid conversation about how much is going to cost, how much is going to cost. The cost of human lives is what we need to be factoring in here when it comes to this and when it comes to war. Because what we're doing overseas, what we've done overseas, has cost thousands and thousands and thousands of civilian lives as well as money. And it's unacceptable to have Democrats on this stage running interference for the military-industrial complex and Wall Street greed and the health insurance companies, the ticks that are the health insurance companies, the rapacious ticks that are the health insurance companies. Get out of here, Pete Buttigieg. There was another moment as well where I wanted Sanders to be a little bit stronger. About what about the jobs? The jobs, oh my God, the jobs. Bernie Sanders has made it so that in his plan there is provision for us to do more to create new jobs. This Green New Deal is all about creating new jobs. And you need to make that clear. It's about creating new jobs. It's about training people to do these jobs. It's about a job guarantee. That's what Bernie Sanders is all about. That's what he's fighting for. And he needs to mention that when we start talking about jobs, not just let it be about, oh, well, we're just trying to do the right thing regardless of whether it costs these people jobs. Well, yes, that's true. It's not an excuse to be like, well, I have a job that is going around and raping people. And if you make rape illegal, then that kind of gets rid of my job. I don't care. Like, your job shouldn't exist. So, yes, I get that, but we need to go beyond that and say we're going to create new jobs for these people. And so that's where we go. I feel like Bernie Sanders, though, when I rewatched it, really was very strong in a lot of moments. Very strong. Ripping into Bloomberg like he should. Bloomberg came back with this weak sauce about his houses, and Bernie shot back, okay, tax haven much? Anybody? Where your money at? Where your money at? Where your tax haven at? Because he got one. Don't fall for any of that nonsense. So that was strong. And also there was a moment later on where he really came for Pete Buttigieg effectively, and I really enjoyed one of the interactions they had towards the end, where he's basically like, people are just, well, at least you're honest about how you're going to raise taxes on everybody. And Bernie Sanders was like, yeah, I am. And you're not honest, because what you're doing is acting like taxes are going to be raised and it's not going to be offset by the fact that the premiums, copays, deductibles, we're getting rid of that aspect of healthcare. So you're the one that's being dishonest here. Loved that. That's what we want to see. So thought he was good. And the winner from last night's debate, in my opinion, was Elizabeth Warren. It was very close, though. First time I watched it was easily Elizabeth Warren. But when I rewatched it, I thought Bernie Sanders was a little bit stronger than I originally thought. So I think he did well. But I do think Elizabeth Warren pulled this one out. I don't know whether we should be worried how this affects Sanders' chances in Las Vegas. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how this is going to affect. It'll be interesting once the post-debate polls start coming out. Let's just see. Let's just see. I thought Warren was strong. You guys know on this channel, I'm not a Warren fan right now, based on a lot of what she's done recently, based on the backtracking for Medicare for All, based on thinking she can just snake Bernie in the back. I just have an issue with her in a lot of ways, but she was strong last night. She went after Pete Buttigieg in just the most effective way of any candidate on that stage. Totally strong, totally taking the fight to him, following up, not just saying one thing that kind of attacks him and then just kind of like leaving it there, but being like, the non-disclosure agreements part of this alone was probably one of the moments of the debate where I was just like, wow, just walk off the stage. She's like, are you going to release those women right now? Right now? Well, no. Are you going to release those women right now? Well, I'm talking. Yeah, that's nice. I don't care. Are you going to release those women from the non-disclosure agreement so they can get out there and share what their experience is if they want to? Are you? Oh, no, you're not. Okay, cool. That's great. Yeah, we know who you are. Anyway, it was just like, oh my gosh. And every time you thought she was finished, she came back another one. Like, even when they would ask about something else, she would come right back and bring it back around to Bloomberg, which is exactly what I was saying I would do if I was in this debate, even if remember I was saying in the last video, oh, what if Bloomberg doesn't show up? I was like, it doesn't matter to me. I was like, if Bloomberg doesn't show up, it's going to be even more. I'm going to be like, look at this punk, this wimp that didn't show up. I was like, I would make almost every question, I would answer it, and then I'd find a way to circle around to attacking Bloomberg. I would never get finished destroying him. The entire time, from the moment they said go to the moment I got my closing statement, I would be destroying Bloomberg in one form or fashion in every segment of the debate. And she did that very effectively. And so I think that definitely got her points. She looked strong, but she didn't just go after Bloomberg. Honey ain't come to play. Okay? She ain't come to play. She went after Amy Klobuchar, called her healthcare plan a post-it note. She went after Pete Buttigieg with his fake rat self. She went after everybody on that stage, and I thought it was very, very effective. All right, well, this video is closing in on 30 minutes, so I'm going to wrap this up, but I may have more to say about the debate with maybe some more specifics about certain things, but I'm going to be turning my attention to the caucus now, the Nevada caucus, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, Bernie Sanders will do well there. Obviously, that's who I'm rooting for. Get out there, phone bank canvas. If you're in Nevada, like, why are you watching this? Like, get going. Like, we need to pull it out there. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much, and have a great day.